Alright, YouTube, so today is Wednesday, July 13th. So I'm over here at the 07 Prix, and I still have not heard back from the seller of the radiator fans. But I went ahead and got this destroyed one out. And these are the fans out of the parts car, the 98 GTP. So I'm going to try to see if I can use these in here. So I'm going to unplug one of them and just try to test fit it in here. Probably put the one with the heat shield on this side, since it's going to be right in front of that power log manifold. So I'll get this one unplugged from this harness and then test fit that, and if that will work and fit in there, then I'll go ahead and get that bolted in, and we'll go from there, and hopefully I can make it work. So also today I want to mess with with this fill neck and the hoses, and so I need to put the fill neck onto this hose, or just take this hose and swap them around on the pump down there. And so I'm going to have to undo the hose and then catch the coolant so I can reuse it. I've got almost a whole another gallon right here still, so I should be able to get all this intercooler stuff done. And then once I get all that done, then I can start working on the actual wiring harness, which is in the back behind the 07. But then I can go ahead and start working on that and getting that actually wired up correctly. And I'm probably going to wire it into the fuse box for the ignition. So whenever you turn the key on and this gets power, then that'll kick that intercooler pump on. So that's how I'm wanting to run that. And yeah, so right now I just got to probably undo this dog bone mount, so I have plenty of room to get in here. And I'll just leave this one over here connected. And so I'll just take this one off, and then that way I can get this fan test fitted and see if it's going to bolt into place and see if everything's going to work or not. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll give you guys another update here in a few. Alright guys, so this fan is not going to work because, see, I was looking at this hold on. So I was looking at this little notch right there, and I was thinking that this was going to slide into that notch, but this actually goes down here under the radiator hose where this cooler line spot is. Look, that fan indented in my radiator. But yeah, so that piece goes down there, not here, and then this bolt actually goes like way up here where this is, so that's not gonna work. So these are the fans that came with the radiator when I got it, and they were bolted on perfectly fine. So I'm going to try to run these. They have heat shields on both sides. They're nice and thick like some factory fans, so I don't know what they're out of, but that's what I'm going to try to run. So, and then as long as they'll fit in there, which I'm really hoping they do, but as long as they fit, then I can just snip those wires and wire them on how I had the red fans wired on, just with these little butt connectors. And this one will go to that side, and the one that's still over here will go to the one on that side. And I'll just have to cut all these and pull that fan out and unplug it and just ditch that fan. So that's what I'm about to do right now. I'm going to go ahead and get this other fan disconnected and get it off of there. And then that way I can just try putting this whole fan assembly in here and getting it bolted down, and hopefully that will work for me. So y'all stay tuned. I'll give you guys another update here in a few. Alright y'all, so I was able to get the other fans in place. I just got one 10mm bolt here and one over on this side, and then I've just got the same mount brackets off the 97 and 98 style. So the only thing I don't like is it's kind of bouncy, so I think I'm going to try to put a screw in through here, or maybe a zip tie, just to kind of keep that nice and tight to the radiator, so it's not bouncing around. It's already kind of scrunched it up right there a little bit. I didn't realize it, but I mean, it will work. So that's gonna do just fine. So now I've just gotta unplug these two plugs from the fans so I can strip the ends of the wires, and then I'm gonna have to crimp some of those fittings on. Here's one. Yeah, I've got some of them in here, and there's a little red cup I got somewhere. I got some more of them in there, so I'll be able to get those wired up, and then I'll be able just to plug that other factory wire right back into it. And now that I'm going back to factory style wire, then I just got to match the colors and be perfectly fine. So all good, all good. So fans are almost figured out. Probably gonna have to bend this bracket in a little bit to hold that in a little better, but it's coming together. So once I get this all wired up and get these fans wired up, I'll turn the car on just to make sure that they kick on and they work, which I've tested them before and I know they work, but I just want to make sure everything's working properly. And then once I know that they're working properly, then I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the intercooler hose down here so I can drain this coolant out of this system, so I can swap some stuff around and get that fill neck on the correct side and not right up on the fill side there. So yeah, it's definitely coming along though. Very happy with the progress. So I'm gonna keep working on this thing, and I'll give you guys another update here shortly. Alright guys, well, so I've got the car jacked up, so that way I can get to these wires. Looks like I'm leaking power steering fluid. It also looks like it's dripping some coolant, but the coolant I think was just overflow from the intercooler fill from whenever it dumped over. And it's just leaking out of the subframe bolt holes for the engine mount. But it just dripped a little bit and now it stopped. So, but yeah, that's definitely some power steering fluid back over there. So maybe I didn't get one of the lines tight enough on the power steering pump. So I'll have to double check that and just make sure those are nice and tight. But other than that, everything looks nice and clean under here. So just that little bit of a mess over there. And it's a little bit of coolant dripping from the subframe. Yeah, so now I've just gotta get over here. Now I can unplug those two plugs there from those two fans. Then I can pull those wires down here, wire them up to these, and they'll just plug in. Everything will be good. So that's what I'm about to do right now. I got to use this little pick. It's a Harbor Freight pick set. And so I use those to get those plugs undone. And I'll be able to just wire them up with my little pieces I got here. Need 2 of these and 2 of these, and electrical tape, and probably that, and 1 self-tapper. And then that I can just put right on the radiator support down here somewhere, and that will hold the wires. So if I even need that, I might not even need that. But it's my crimp, so now I got what I need. And so now I'm going to go ahead and get these plugs off and get these wired up, and then I'll give you guys another update. Alright you guys, so I've got the fans all in, everything's wired up, fans are plugged in, everything's clearing. So we're just going to turn the key on, make sure the fans kick on. They run that key off. Alright. Well, they didn't kick on, so I know they work though. I tested them out. So, alright, maybe it's just going to have to be running. I still need to get a zip tie or something through this top to keep that a little more tight, so it's not just wiggling around. So I'll go ahead and get a zip tie in there. And then that'll be pretty much everything on the radiator fans. Looks like everything's going to clear, so those will work. And those These look like a factory style fan, so these should hold up to the heat a lot better than those little cheap eBay ones. I just got everything ran just like factory, runs over the top, goes down there. The only difference is the factory plug, it had an actual plug right here. It was, yeah, this. So it had this, that ran down, I clicked on just like so, and that went down to the wires, and I just chopped that off. And then this factory 07 pre, it just runs right down there, right between, goes to both fans, just like factory. So fans are in there. So I guess next thing I got to do is go ahead and undo this clamp and drain this coolant out. And so that way I can get these two hoses swapped around, and we'll go from there. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll keep you guys updated. Alright, y'all, well, I started her up because I wasn't able to get the fans to kick on, and I want to test the fans. Neither one of them's on yet, but it's still full of coolant, so I'm waiting for it to heat up some. Once it heats up some, then it should start. It should kick the fans on and open the thermostat, so I'm just going to let it do a heat cycle, and once she does her heat cycle, then the fans kick on, I'll shut it down. Make sure they run for 10 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever. And then I'll drain that coolant out of the heat exchanger. So got no rubs up here. Close on the fill neck. But no rubs, so I'll keep you guys updated once she gets up to operating temp and see if these fans kick on. Alright guys, there they went. They just kicked on. One anyways. That's cool. It's only up to like a quarter. So I'm happy with that. Stomach killer. It's still just a one. I might need to double check the plug underneath to make sure it's plugged in all the way correctly. Oh, there it goes. It's running. Cool. Awesome. Alright, so now that the fans are on and they're both wired up and they're working how they're supposed to. Awesome. That's what I needed. So now I can jack this thing back up, and I can go ahead and drain out the coolant out of this heat exchanger. Make sure there's even anything in the heat exchanger, because there might not even be very much in there at all. Like, I don't even know. I figured that would have taken at least a whole gallon, and it took like a quarter of a gallon. So yeah, let's just see how this goes, and need to make sure that none of these lines get kinked or, you know, like squished, because this isn't very thick heater hose. And I'm probably going to have to get some more so I can run it up higher, but I don't know, I guess we'll figure it out together here in a few. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing back up in the air and start draining this, and then I'll give you guys another update. Alright you guys, so I've been working on the intercooler and the heat exchanger, and so I've got everything redone where my hoses both come from the intercooler and come straight up over the fuse box, and they both snake down through the fender well. So I've got the feed coming from the fill neck, so this is the return side going down to the heat exchanger, so the hot side, and then that comes through, as you can see right there, that's this one here. And so that's coming down through the fill neck and then coming down into the bottom side of the heat exchanger. It pumps it over and then back across, comes in this side into the pump, and then I've clocked the pump, so now it's coming straight up here behind this horn and wrapping right back through and coming out right behind the battery. And I've got it running between the fender and the washer fluid tank. There's a nice little cutout right there. It just kind of holds the hose in place. I don't have it all the way tightened down. It's just snug, just to hold the hose without flattening it. And then it just wraps up here around the top side of this bar, which I'm sure once I do the hood spacers and cradle spacers and everything, I might be able to put this underneath this bar, and then I'll be able to shut the hood. But right now, until I get some kind of spacers, I can't do anything because that fuel pressure gauge. That's why I just took the hood off. But overall, everything seems to be working good. I've got it running. It hasn't overflowed. You can tell it says cold fill. Klein of Freud, I don't know, cold fill up to the top. So, but it's nice and pumping. I haven't seen any leaks since I got everything tightened back down. I did leak a bunch all over the floor just from having to pull stuff off and put it back on and everything. And then once I got it all together, this hose here was leaking a little bit because the hose was up on this ridge, so I had to loosen the clamp and back it off some and then tighten it back down. And now I don't think it's leaking anymore, so it does kind of suck. The only way I'm going to be able to get to it with the bumper on and everything is I'm going to have to pull the headlight out. But once it's full, I shouldn't have to keep pulling the headlight out. You know, once it's full, it should be full. So I still have that little overflow breather on there. I took the bolt out of it because I did have a bolt in the bottom side. So it's actually up here. It was a hood bolt. So I took that out. So if there is a problem, it can dump fluid out. But overall, I'm happy with it. It seems to be pretty good. So now all I'm going to have to do is wire up the actual wire with the relay and everything up to the battery and up to this fucking fuse box. So that way I can get this thing permanently wired in to where it powers on with the key. But overall, I'm happy. I think now I just got to use the rest of that coolant and top this off, and then I could put the lid on and she should be good. So I haven't seen any leaks. I'm not seeing any leaks up here. Everything looks to be great. So I'm super happy with the progress today. So I guess I'm going to grab this this little lid. I'm going to top this off and then I'll put the cap on. And then I can go ahead and throw the headlight back in. I just got it sitting in the chair over there. But yeah, then she's ready just to get this thing wired up with the actual harness and the relay. And then the intercooler system will be complete. So now the fans are complete. The intercooler system's complete. I mean, it's just keeps getting closer and closer. So y'all stay tuned and I'll give you guys another update once I get everything all topped off and get this cap on, and I'm starting to work on the wiring. Alright guys, so I've got the intercooler heat exchanger system pretty much all complete. I had to get a charged up battery because the other one died. It's like super low. But I've got everything running. I've got it full. It's just circulating. Pretty much got all the air bubbles out. It's not leaking anything anywhere except for just where I've overflowed filling it up. But it's not leaking up here anywhere, so it's looking to be all good. I don't see any kinked lines anywhere. So I'm much happier with that. Again, it kind of sucks that I'm going to have to take the headlight out to service it, but like I said, if nothing happens to it and it stays full, then I should never have any issues with it. So now I just got to screw that lid down. Now it's nice and pressurized. So there we go. It's nice. So now it's time to start working on the wiring. And I'm probably going to throw the headlight back in. But man, I'm super, super happy with it. super happy with the progress. So I'll get this stuff out of the way, get this headlight back in, and then I'll give you guys another update. Okay, so now I've got my pump harness is plugged in down here, and I've got it grounded right here, and then I just ran it straight up next to the radiator fans and back behind the back side of the battery. And I've got the relay just sitting over here chilling, which I'm gonna have to screw it down probably right here below this ground. But then I have the power going to the fuse box there, and then the other ground is going here, and that relay is probably just going to get screwed in right about there also. And then that only leaves me with this, which is my this is the trigger, so whenever I touch this, the power kicks my pump on. So now the pump is fully wired, so now all I have to do is just snake this somewhere in here with my ignition, so that whenever I turn the ignition on, this gets power, and that will kick the pump on and pump all the fluid. And as you can see, if you look up in here, fits nice up in there underneath the headlight, plenty of room, so everything's looking great. I'm very happy with how everything's coming along. So all I gotta do is just touch. Oop. And there we go. And she be pumping. So now she's all wired up. I've got all the hoses rerouted, so now they should stay out of the way of the belt. Shouldn't have any problems with that. With either one of the belts, I'll probably go ahead and zip tie them together right here, just so they don't end up moving around and touching that main belt. They're like a mile away from the supercharger belt now, so no worries there. But man, it's come a long way today. So now all I gotta do is just hook up that fucking feed wire, or the switch wire, and then everything will be done. And then I gotta add one more self-tapper in that relay with my filled spit, and then intercooler system is complete. It's fully wired, and radiator fans are in, they're wired, they're working, everything's working how it's supposed to. So man, it's coming along great. I was trying to figure out a way I could use that other red radiator fan. I put it in the car. But I was wanting to try to use that other red radiator fan right here or on the trans cooler, but it's just not gonna, it's just way too big for both of those. So I'll have to get like an 8-inch fan or something, or a couple 8-inch fans for the heat exchanger, just to draw some extra air, so while it's just sitting there idling, it's still pulling some air through. So, but it's coming along. I'm very happy with the progress, so I guess I'm gonna maybe test fit the bumper just to see how everything fits, which sucks because I kind of got to pull both the headlights out to test fit the bumper, but I'm very happy with that. I would say that's the next thing, but other than getting the bumper painted, but that would be the next thing. So I guess I'm gonna pull the headlights out and test fit this front bumper, and then I'll give you guys another update. Alright y'all, so I've got the front bumper on, I got the headlights back in, things looking like it's fitting pretty nice. There was a little bit of a hump right here, so I'll put the headlights in, and then that flattened that out, but now it's kind of got a little bit of a hump right here. And then I still need to get these two end pieces in down here, which I think that'll kind of flatten that out, along with this one down here. But overall, I really like how it fits. These little end pieces right here keep plopping out on both sides. I don't like that. But other than that, the bumper fits really nice. Everything's looking good. Everything back behind there is nice. You see the intercooler hose runs right underneath the fog light, and I put a self-tapper in the housing there. Man, overall, it's looking nice, and it comes right up here, and then that goes from this top right over to the pump, and then the pump pumps it up, and bam. So now all that's left is just putting in my signal wire for the pump. Now everything's pumping. Stoked. And that's it. So now intercooler's done. All the wiring's done. Headlights work. I need to test the fog lights. Haven't even tested those yet. Let's see how they look. No fogs. There we go. Alright. Looking nice. Sweet. Super stoked on that. Everything works. Very happy. Alright. So, I guess that's going to be it for today. It's starting to get dark. I need to pick all my stuff up, go home and take a shower, and get to bed early. I still gotta get up early so I can go back to work tomorrow. I'm trying to get 4 10-hour shifts, which I only made it 1 so far this week. And yeah, so but yeah, I guess stay tuned, and I'll probably be back over here tomorrow, get some more stuff done on it. So y'all have a good night, and I'll catch you guys back over here tomorrow. Hey YouTube. Alright, so it's the next day. Today's Thursday. I'm back over here at the 07 Prix. I made a shit ton of progress yesterday. So today, I need to work on getting my trigger wired up for the pump. So, I found out this fuse right here, this 15 amp, is for the electric ignition. It's right there. And so whenever I undo this, like pull this fuse out, and I touch this to either side and put the fuse back in, when I turn the ignition on, it kicks the pump on. And then when I turn the ignition off, the pump stays on for about 5 seconds before it shuts down. So that lets it pump a little bit longer. So that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So what I should probably do to make it all nice and neat looking is I'm going to have to undo the top side of the fuse box and pull it out of this bottom piece, and then that way I can connect this on the inside, so that way it's not even seen and you just see the fuse. And so that's what I was thinking about trying to do. There's so much shit over here in this corner though, it's going to be a pain in the ass to do that. I can barely even move the fuse box as it is, especially now with the hoses in the way. I can't really move it. So, I don't know, I might just splice the end of this and just wrap it around one of the prongs and plug it in. And as long as the lid goes on, I mean, it'll work. It's not really how I want to do it, but like I said, right now I'm just going for functionality, and this is going to function way better than it did before with the hose routing. So now all it is just hooking up this pump. And I like how, with having it hooked up to the 15 amp, I like how that works the pump with the ignition. So I don't even have to think about it. As soon as I start the car, the pump's on. So I think I'm going to go to splice this wire and just hook it up to that 15 amp right there so I can show y'all what I'm talking about. So give me just a second and I'll give you guys another update. Alright guys, so now I've got the wire hooked up. So as you can see, it just hooks up right on to that fuse. And then I can stick the cover on, which I'm actually really happy about that. So now I can take the key, come turn the key on. Now as soon as I kick the key on, pump's running. So I'm pretty happy with that. Like I said, now I don't even have to worry about it. It's just pumping. So that's nice. So now I can kick the key back off. And that is the intercooler system. So now it's all wired up. Sorry, I got sweat in my eyes. It burns. Alright. Woo! Alright. But that's awesome. So I made a shit ton of progress. So now it seems like everything's full. Everything's normal how it's supposed to be. So I guess next thing really would be driving this thing out of here. Also today I got on ZZP and I ordered a valve cover breather because the intercooler blocks off the PCV valve. It's just completely blocked off, so I'm getting a shit ton of crankcase pressure coming out the oil cap. So I ordered the valve cover breather, and then I think I'm still got like a slow drip back over here of coolant from the timing cover from whenever I had to fix the timing chain, and I just put RTV all over it. So I ordered another extra thick timing cover gasket, and then I also ordered something else from ZZP. I ordered 3 things from ZZP, spent like $80, and then I also got on eBay and I ordered the E85 6AN fuel line. It's 16 feet of line with 2 straights, 2 90s, and 2 45s. And then the other thing I ordered from ZZP was the stainless steel ZZP fuel filter at 6AN on each end. So I'm going to use probably the 45, one of the 45s up here going into my feed, and it can just kind of angle over, and it's going to run down and run back, and then I'll have the fuel filter right in here somewhere, and then I'll have a straight and a straight, and then I can go up to the pump, and then once I make it to the pump, I have all these fittings, and these just go around, these like unscrew. Here, let me show you on this pump. Okay, so this is your feed. So this is going to go on here like that. Damn, it's almost too small. Alright, so that's the return one. Okay, well, it's not going to work for this because this one doesn't have a return. But, so the other size is bigger. So it slides over like so. And then you take the other end and it threads on. And now that's converted just a regular factory style fitting to a 6AN fitting. And so that's pretty much how that's going to work, except the other one of these is a bigger one. It's a 3/8, not a 5/16. Yeah, that one. So that one's going to be the feed one. That'll go there. This one won't be used. And then this is just the vacuum. And then another line clicks in here. But yeah, so it's pretty simple. And then so once I have my fitting going from my feed, this will come out of the pump. It'll go down to that ZZP stainless fuel filter, and then out the other side of the stainless fuel filter up here, and it'll go into the fuel rail. Actually, I might even, well no, it's going to go into the fuel rail, and then out the other side of the fuel rail, I'm going to have to use the 90 that, or the Y that I got. I'm going to have to. And I mean, it seems to run fine now, but everyone's been telling me that I'm going to end up using all the fuel on the rear rail, and I'm not going to get any fuel to the front rail without using a splitter. So once I get my feed going in to the regulator, then I'll have the line coming out the other side. It'll go to this Y, and then I'll have one side come around to the front rail, and the other side will go down into the rear rail. And that's just the way I'm going to have to do it. And it might be a little ghetto, but I just don't want to have any issues later on down the road, so I figured I might as well just do the shit now. And then that way I don't have to worry about it. It's already done. So I'll have to pick all that back up here in a minute. But man, made a shit ton of progress yesterday and today. And then, so something else I was also thinking about was, since I have to have that breather, my buddy David said I might have to get a oil catch can. And this was in the parts car, and this was actually used as a coolant tank. But I'm thinking about using this, because I could probably mount this really close somewhere in there somewhere onto something. And even if I don't use it on this, like for the Grand Am or something. But I'm really happy with the progress on everything. So I don't know, I might use that, I might not. Something else I was also thinking about was relocating my battery to the trunk. And then that way I can free up all this space right here. And then I was thinking about getting like an aluminum tank that's about the same size as the battery, that I can just bolt down in there where the battery tray is, and it can just be an ice chamber. And then I can run my intercooler system as it comes down and runs through the heat exchanger and then comes back up. Then the pump can be pumping it through the ice chamber and then run it through the ice chamber before it goes into the intercooler. And so that's kind of what I was been debating on that. I've already been looking at some of the tanks, but there's not really any that's like the size of the battery that's made to fit this. They're all for like, you know, Nissan GTRs or Subarus, and you know, they're all for like different, they're made specifically for other cars. None of it, they don't really make them for the Grand Prix like this. So I know I'll keep looking around on ZZP and, you know, a couple of the other websites that do 3800 stuff, but I haven't seen anything yet that's made specifically for this application. So I might have to do something a little custom, or have something made that's about the same size as that battery. But that's probably going to be one of the next things I do after I get the hood and everything done. And I don't know, it really just kind of depends on how it comes into play. So, but yeah, I think it's just about time to lower this thing back on the ground off of the jack stands, and maybe move some of this shit out of the way and see if I can pull this thing out of here and get some stuff done. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll give you guys another update once I'm about to pull her out of the storage. Alright, you guys, so we got everything cleaned out the way. I'm going to try to pull her out. So I'm about to start it up and put you guys on the tripod. And then I'm going to get her out of the storage so we can get some more stuff done. still need to figure out what's up with the power steering. Look, I'm not even close to them hoses with either one of the belts. Looks like the power steering's leaking. Alright. Well, that kind of sucks. At least I know what the problem is, though. I can see the hose leaking. But everything else is working. Intercooler's running. Awesome. Yeah, she's pumping, baby. Still waiting on the breather. Can't really drive it or nothing because I don't want to blow it up. But man, she looks like a car. So I still need to fix the exhaust leak. I need to get the radio installed. I still need to swap out the steering linkage, which I've got to figure out what's going on with the one underneath. But he's running great, so I'm happy with it. So there's still a few other things I've got to get done. So I want to pull the 97 in to work in the shade, kinda, but I just need to adjust the tie rods and shit. There's really not a lot of room in there. But at least now I can at least kind of get some stuff done out here. And also I went and got the tag for the 06 today. It was $154. But after getting a $170 ticket the other day for expired tag, I swear. Or improper tag, it said, yeah. Because it was expired. So $170 ticket, $154 to get the tag updated. So now the 06 is legal again. So that's good. So now next thing is getting insurance on this and updating the tag on this because it's expired January of 22. And I need to adjust the tie rods on this a little bit, check on my tire pressures. But man, I'm super happy with it. She's coming along. I'm just gonna let her warm up and get up to temp. Make sure the fans kick on and make sure everything's working like it's supposed to. And then I'll give you guys another update, so y'all stay tuned. Alright you guys, so she was sitting here running. I drove it just right around and fans kicked right on, both of them. Hard to see from that side. Yeah, that one's running. Over there is also running. So that's cool. Fans are running how they're supposed to. Intercooler pumps running. Everything's working. Super happy with the progress. She looks so good. So now before too long I'll be painting the bumper and getting closer and closer. I still got to do the shift cable. I still got to drop the tank and do the fuel pump. I still got to put the 80-pound injectors back in. I still got to do all the fuel line. So I mean, there's still more to come on it, but she runs and drives. She shifts. The intercooler is all working how it's supposed to. So now it's not just ghetto or not even hooked up. So at least now it's at least got something. I'm happy. So like I said, there's still more to come though. I still got to redo the whole fuel system and there's still a lot more going on. And then I want to get the ice box and put right here for the intercooler system. But man, lots of progress, lots and lots of progress. So I'm gonna let it run for a few more minutes. Then I'm gonna turn it off then I'm probably just gonna pull the front end of the 97 in there some so I can adjust some tie rods. And then I'm gonna have to jack this thing up, and I don't know if I'm gonna have to take that passenger front wheel off or what, but I need to adjust this tie rod a little bit, and I also need to pull the wheel off so I can get to that power steering line. And I can see it too. If you look, there's a power steering hose right there. And I can see the clamp. So you see the drip on the axle? Yeah. So that little clamp is way back. It's not even slid up where it's supposed to go. So I'm gonna have to take that clamp completely off, and I'm gonna use one of those little worm drive clamps. I put them back in that tray, but yeah, I've got those little worm drive clamps, the screw down ones. I'm gonna use one of those, and then that way I don't have to worry about that little factory style one, piece of shit. So I guess I'm gonna move this thing over into the shade and turn her off, and then that way I can let her sit for a few. There we go. Yeah, it's still running. So as soon as that ignition kicks off, probably will be when the fog lights kick off. Fans are still running. There it goes. Pump kicks off when the fans kick off. Awesome. That's sweet. So, that's awesome. I'm loving it. So, there's not a whole lot left. I do still need to install the air filter and a little block off piece. It's all back there in the corner. Man, it's coming along. I'm not going to install that yet until I do the shift cable, because it's just going to have to come back out or else it'll be in the way. But man, it is coming along great. I'm super stoked. So I'm going to let that sit for a little bit and cool down. And now I'm probably just going to pull the front end of the 97 in here into the shade. You can see all the power steering fluid I've lost. That sucks. Because now I'm out. That jug's empty. I used the last of it the other day. But, alright, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing pulled in here so I can adjust the tie rod some. And I'm going to use my tape measure. I think it's in here. Or in the red bag. But I'm going to use a tape measure and measure from the outside of this tire to the outside of that tire on the front. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the back side of the front tire, side to side, and then adjust it until they're the same. And with the steering wheel straight, then that should at least get me pretty close to straight. So that's the plan for that. And then I'll probably end up doing the same thing for the 07 also, but I'm just trying to get this thing a little more drivable and everything for David, because he let me drive this thing for the last 3 or 4 days since I got pulled over on Monday. And so he was nice enough to let me drive this thing for the last few days. And so that I just want to try to make it as good as possible for him. And he's really not going to be able to drive it for a super long time either, because this thing's been leaking oil like a mofo out the oil pan gasket or something. Because like on Tuesday, Monday night or Tuesday, whenever I went and got it, it was pretty low. And I filled it up and topped it off. And now it's already low again, so. But it is what it is. I'm going to get this thing in here and adjust these tie rods. And I'll give you guys another update. Alright y'all, so I already pulled the 97 in there and I was adjusting the tie rods, but I didn't have room to get the driver one because I have the hood and everything sitting over there against the wall. So I just backed out over here into the shade. I got them pretty damn straight, and I kept backing up and pulling forward. This one might need a little bit more adjusted. This one looks pretty damn good, so I'm about to go just test drive it around and make sure the steering wheel stays pretty damn straight. So let's go for a test drive. Turned right a little bit. Turns a little bit right, but well, it's pretty straight. I guess we'll see once I go get on the highway. It looks like it's turning right though. So it did look like this one needed adjusted in a little bit more, so I guess we'll see. It's been doing that a lot here lately too. Just randomly dies. But okay, like I said, it ain't gonna be for very much longer here. Pretty soon I'm gonna be pulling this engine out anyway, so I'm just trying to get it to where David can actually drive it for a few days or something, and he's not just stuck at home. If he wants to go to the store, he can go to the store, so, you know. So I guess I'm gonna just call that good enough, and if I need to adjust it a little bit more later, then I will. I think right now I'm going to grab the jack and jack the front of this up so I can try to get in there and put the clamp on that power steering line, and that will at least keep that power steering line from leaking, and then I can actually fill the system and not all leak out. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go grab the jack and get this jacked up, and then I'll give you guys another update. Alright guys, so I was about to put the wheel back on, but realized I never did an update. So I got the wheel off, and come to find out, both lines, that hard line right there was a couple threads loose, and then that return line right there, it had that clamp on it, and instead of being up here where this clamp is right here, it was like way back here. It wasn't even on there. So both lines were actually leaking. So I got that one tightened down, and then I got the worm drive clamp on that one, and it's tightened down. I made a mess, but Everything's on there now and tight. I don't know why it was like that before, but it is what it is. Oh well. So now I just got to get the wheel bolted back on. Then I can adjust the tie rods. I'm going to go ahead and break these both free. Oh, that one's already free. Yeah, I'm going to break both of these free before I lower it back down on the ground. And then once I lower it on the ground, then I'll get them adjusted a little bit. And I'll do the same thing I did with the 97. I'll back up and pull forwards to kind of let it adjust. And then eyeball it. And then go from there. So at least I'm still making progress on this thing. I'm just going to have to go get some more power steering fluid so I can top off that power steering pump. And then this thing should be good to go. At least for now. Like I said, there's still a lot more to come. But it'll at least run and drive and move and shouldn't have any major issues. So I'm still wanting to take this thing on its first real drive, like road test drive. But I've just got to get all this little stuff squared away first. As you can tell, this wheel's kind of turned in, like to the right a little bit. So that one needs to be straightened up a little bit more. And then this one, it was kind of the same way it was turned in. It needs to be straightened out. So I'm going to get this wheel bolted back on and then adjust these tie rods. Then I'll give you guys another update. Alright, you guys. So I've got the wheels on. I've got the tie rods adjusted. I've moved it forward and backwards a couple times. And they're looking pretty straight. They're not perfect. It's going to need an alignment, but it's really close. And that's pretty much all I was really caring about, was that it's close. So let's see. Not bad. Definitely need some more power steering fluid now. Ride's pretty straight. It's definitely not perfect, but it's pretty straight. Like it needs to be adjusted a little more on this side. And that side looks almost perfect. But then again, it's just eyeball, so I'm sure that both probably still need adjusted a little bit, but it looks really good for what it is. The steering wheel stays pretty straight. So now I shouldn't have any more power steering leaks. So now I'm just going to have to refill my pump. Everything else is looking great. So now it's just going to be filling up the power steering pump and fixing that exhaust leak. And just some more little shit. I'm waiting for stuff to come in the mail from ZZP. So I'm pretty much about to, like, that's pretty much all I can really get done right now. But yeah, I made a shit ton of progress. I'm super happy with the progress and with the overall outcome of the car so far. love it. I love her to death. I just can't wait to see this bumper painted to match the car. Oh man. I'm trying here. I'm trying to make her look good. I'm trying to get her fixed up. So I guess I'm gonna pick up all my tools over here that's in the way and get everything out of the way so I can back her back in there in her home. And I'll give you guys another update. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll catch back here in just a few. Alright y'all, so got her back in here. It's got a checked engine light. I haven't ran it yet. It's probably for the PCV system though. But she's running great. Everything's working how she's supposed to. Intercooler pump's pumping. Awesome. I love it. So, she's sounding good. The alignment's still a little off. She's running great. Fans are working. Everything's working how it's supposed to. I can't believe it. I never have good luck, so. See, as you can tell, crankcase pressure. So I'm a killer. But there we go. She runs great. Heat cycling great. Fans stay on. Pump still running. So that's awesome. And they'll stay running for about a minute till the fans kick off. When the fans kick off, the intercooler pump will kick off. So, man, super happy. Lots of progress, lots of progress. So, I've got the tie rods on the 97 adjusted. They still need adjusted a little more. I got the ones on the 07 adjusted. They still need adjusted a little more. But it's a lot better than what it was. And so hopefully here in the next couple days, I'll get that new breather from ZZP and that fuel filter and the other timing cover gasket. And then I guess just once I get everything and the other AN line and AN fittings and all that, then I'll probably end up doing the fuel pump with the tank and use those adapters to run the feed to the filter and then up here to the regulator. And then I'll just kind of do the fuel system with the pump and the tanks, you know, swap all at once. And then whenever I do all that, I'll probably go ahead and just swap to the 80-pound injectors, or back to the 80-pound injectors. And since I'm going to have to redo all the fuel line anyway, and add that Y in there and all that, so I still got a little ways to go, but she's definitely coming along. I need to get this computer sent back off to Daniel Smuts so I can get it retuned. But just before I do that, I've still got to pay some tickets, and so now I just got another ticket for having an expired tag on the 06 the other day. And I got a speeding ticket in the work truck like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was like right after I got in the wreck with the 06, and they denied my claim. And then just a few days after that, I got a speeding ticket in the work truck. So I've got to pay that ticket. And then I still am paying on my last speeding ticket I got in the 97. And that was like a $400-something ticket. And I still owe like another $150 or $200. I think I owe $200 left. So I'm going to pay that $200 ticket. And I've got the one from out by, it's between Bartlesville and Tulsa. I forget what town it is. It's a little town. But it's like $160, $170 ticket. And then now the $170 ticket for the 06. So I know I'm probably going to be selling some stuff here soon. If anyone's needing any parts. Like I said, I still got a bunch of alternators, alternator brackets. I've got these 2 AC compressors, and then I have 2 more, one of each style, over at the house in the shed. I have all that NA heads and all that stuff off of the old engine out of the 06 that I just took that block apart and drilled out that head bolt. So if y'all are needing any heads or intake or anything for an NA engine, I've got pretty much the whole engine. Mine is just like the fuel rail and injectors and the power steering pump. And there's just a couple things from that engine I don't have. I'm keeping the throttle body as a backup for the 06 just in case. But I have that upper intake, lower intake, the heads, the valve covers, the rockers, the lifters, like everything on that engine. The exhaust manifolds and crossover pipe, the engine mount brackets, like everything. So if you guys are needing any parts, please holler at me, hit me up. I still have other stuff over in the Grand Am storage. And then I still have a bunch of other stuff back there in the corner buried underneath that tarp. And just like random stuff like a rear strut. That's actually, I believe that's actually for the 97. But I'm not 100% for sure on that. But yeah, if you guys are needing any parts, please comment down below or send me a DM on Facebook. It's just Thomas Moody, same as my channel. And you'll see the Pontiacs on there. So, yeah, if you guys are needing any parts at all, holler at me. Let me know, and we can work out a deal. If you're local, I can do better deals. If I got to ship, then it's going to be a little bit more. But I mean, like I said, I have this other DIC cluster. I actually have a couple more of those at the house. And then, of course, you know, you guys seen all that. The supercharged fuel rail. I have another supercharged fuel rail and both sets of supercharged injectors. The actual computer for the 04 to 08 that I had tuned to the 06 so that I could do the top swap on it. And I was wanting to keep it, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to get rid of it. So all you'd have to do, if you need it, is just send it off to Daniel Smuts with your VIN number. He can program your VIN number in there, and boom, you're good to go. So it's literally that easy, and he charges $100. So, but yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video, you guys. I made a lot of progress. The car runs and drives. It shifts. Everything's working how it's supposed to. It's not leaking anything now. So, I'm probably going to run over to my Walmart on the way home. And I'll get some more power steering fluid. And probably some more transmission fluid. And then, we should be good to go. I can get these fluids topped off, and then I also need to, I'm wanting to take the jack with me, and I'm taking a few of these little bit of tools, and so I'm going to end up installing this trans cooler on the 97 for David, just to keep the trans a little bit cooler, and then we can go ahead and drop the pan, make sure that valve body is good, and that hose didn't pop out, or that hard line. And because if that hard line popped out, that could be the reason why it's not wanting to shift from second into third, unless you floor it. If you floor it, it's fine. There's no problems at all. But if you're just cruising, it won't shift. It'll just run like 4,000 RPM. So hopefully that'll take care of that. We can do his new filter and pan gasket and the new pan with the drain plug and get it all back together. And I think he said he got a Transgo shift kit also. So we might be able to do that Transgo shift kit and then just make sure that those hard lines cannot come out of the valve body. And then should be good to go. So, and hopefully that fixes the transmission shifting issues for David. So then he won't even have to worry about it. So I'm probably going to load up the jack and just a couple more other tools. And then I'm going to put the rest of this stuff back in here and head to the house. And I'll probably do a separate video working on that. So, like I said, that's going to be it for this video, you guys. So, leave me a like if you learned something. Leave me a comment down below. And subscribe if you want to see more videos of the 07, of the 97, of the 06, of all of it. So, y'all have a good weekend, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.